Hi,
Hi. How's it going?
not bad. So, doing another video today, and we thought we would discuss how people limit their learning potential with martial arts or just sports in general, and their fear of failure. This can happen in something. This could be a complete beginner, or it could be someone who's, say, either someone who's boxed to a good level, or done Muay Thai to a good level, or done Jiu-Jitsu to a good level, and learning one of those other things, and that fear that stops them developing their skill set because they never really they've become afraid to fail because of success they've had in other sports and other things. So yeah, that's what we're going to have a chat about, and hopefully give us some feedback for as well. There we go. So Pete, your thoughts?
I think your original sort of actually cross train, because if you sort of just dabble in it and then you just kind of go, yeah, I'm going to do it, and don't fully commit to sort of learning some of the fundamentals of it and being engaged with it, it's going to be a bit of a problem in the long run, because you will limit your thing. If you just keep going, I'm a jiu-jitsu guy, I'm a boxing guy at heart, and do you know what I mean? If you identify a little bit too much with one sport, but you actually want to get something from something else, don't self-classify yourself. Don't say I'm a this guy, I'm a that guy. And an MMA guy, you need to be a guy or girl, you need to be really open-minded, and particularly with training methods as well. My brain went to like MMA guys training in the gi, and like that's always like a hot topic of like, do you know what I mean? Because that's tricky ground for me as well, because you're not in the gi, because specific training is really important.
Yes.
But to actually just fully go, oh, that's not for me, I would never ever do that. Maybe not so much, but I don't know. What are you thinking? I think
we've spoken about this a little bit before, but my issue with the gi is not necessarily the fact, or so the reason I tell
a different pace as well.
It's a different pace. It's much slower.
It is much slower.
But the reason I tell people to still train in the gi, train no gi, do both, if they're interested in mixed martial arts, is because, as we said before, you have more people to train with in the gi classes usually. They're a little bit longer, so you get longer to drill, and generally the average, the average person in the gi classes usually have a better skill set than your average person in the no gi.
Right.
Because no gi's fashionable, and a lot of the people.
You can get a bit of free for all.
Yeah, you get your skill set, or your average level of skill in the no gi class, I find, is generally not quite as high as what it is in the gi. I mean, you get exposed to some beasts.
The gi class is nice because you've got that shiny thing around your waist indicating to your level.
Yes.
So if you're an MMA fighter or you want to increase your level, hunt out those purple belts and above. Really, I'd say. To be honest, like, it's good to practice moves on blues, but you need somebody who's more advanced than you, really, and that's that checking the ego kind of thing.
Yeah, so I'd say you wanna you wanna get an estimate of where you're at by rolling with purples, browns, and blacks.
Yeah,
and then if you find, but while you're refining some techniques or skills that you want to make part of your game, go kill blue belts with those things.
Yeah.
Poor blue belts.
Poor blue belts.
We've all been there.
Yeah, man.
5 years of my life being smushed.
Yeah. What else? Coachability, right? So, if that's a fucking word, you meet all sorts of different people from different walks of life, right? And I say it's a combination of things which I notice people getting better. All right, it's down to, I'm gonna throw out two things, and we'll probably maybe elaborate on those. But one is what I would call coachability, is like the person's willingness to learn when they come in. So two main things which I would say is coachability. When the person comes in, do they actually check in? Are they checking in, or are they thinking about dinner? Are they thinking about something else? Are they thinking about whatever. You've got to have balance in your life, I admit. But when you check in, are you checking in mentally? Like, am I learning this technique in front of me, or am I thinking about something else? Okay.
Yeah.
So that's what I see as like the first prerequisite to sort of coming in and getting better. The second, I would say, is volume. It's because one, you may initially understand that technique when you've seen it, but two, are you going to be able to repeat that, see it again, and then take it in again and again and again and again, and only then is it re-solidified. I notice the best people who make the biggest improvements is volume. They're in the morning, they're in it in the night. And even if they take a day off, they've done that double session and they've got maybe a day off to like sink that in. Whereas if they do one gap, 2 gap.
That goes back to our conversation in the past about like treating it like work. So if you do one session a week, you're not really going to improve, because that's 1 hour. That's 4 hours a month.
And I've seen people put like posts on social media and stuff about like being resentful of people, like, oh, it'd be easy if you could train 3 times a day. It's down to that individual as to how much they want to train and how much they want to improve. So you can't be flipping well complaining about how you're making slow progress if you're not making those things a priority. Training volume is one thing. So checking in, volume, and also this is just an observation. Anybody can be a good learner if you adjust your mindset. But I notice if somebody is more familiar with the coaching process and accepting of that coaching process, then they're going to take stuff in. So like if you at school were often like, I don't whatever. I was very much like this, right? I was super ADHD, right? And I just don't, if I wasn't interested, it was like that. But sport was one of the things which I actually really engaged with, because I got a really good feedback loop from that. So I notice sportsmen, quote unquote, are far more coachable because they understand that feedback loop. So they understand, and they take criticism well.
They don't have the fear of failure.
Yeah, sure.
So much.
Sure.
Well, it depends. If they've come from a sport as in a non-combat sport,
they'll know that they will have lost matches.
Yeah. So people that come from non-combat related sports tend to be infinitely more coachable, and particularly more coachable when it comes to S&C.
Right. Yeah. Cool. Yep.
I find way more accepting of that process. However, it does change depending if they come from a combat sport.
Okay.
And sometimes that coaching them can become almost uncoachable.
Okay.
Because of their preconceived ideas of this is how this should be, and you're trying to take some stuff away from them. Like, well, why would you do that? It's because we got told that that's really bad for this, and in some regard, but you're cross training many things, so you sometimes have to break down those preconceived, and sometimes that doesn't work. There's a really good one. I think it was Joe Rogan did a thing about he was talking with someone about kicking technique,
sure.
And how like the Taekwondo kicking method is really different to Muay Thai.
Yes.
It was Fraser.
Yeah.
So they were discussing that how he was saying sometimes if someone's got what he would call perceived a bad habit, but it's just a technique they've learned when they were younger, it's almost so ingrained you can't train it out, or there's no point you can train it out, but it's really uncomfortable for both parties. So you end up having to just incorporate it and work with it, rather than posting loads of time into trying to retrain them and get those habits out of them that you perceive as a bad habit.
It comes back to that willingness to learn kind of thing.
Yeah,
again.
that's that thing though.
Yeah.
And that's becoming onto the unknown as well, because you're at the other side of that. Do you want to confront things that you're not comfortable with? Do you want to be made uncomfortable? And actually, you should be running towards the discomfort. If something is scary and uncomfortable, and it's jiu-jitsu or it's striking or whatever it is,
or even within the art.
Run towards it. Yeah. So, for example, we have massively different body types. Okay, I'm really not good at things that involve De La Riva, reverse De La Riva, but I now spend a lot of time, if I can get to that position, and see what I can do, because I want to improve my ability to do something. For ages, I wouldn't even use those at all. I would avoid them. You have like a really strong leg lock game.
So that's literally
you've developed that recently.
yeah. So before I came to Ippon, much more of a sort of traditional like Gracie style, like
Yeah.
not avoiding the footlocks, but sort of footlocks weren't in vogue in my school. When I came here, I got footlocked a lot, you know, and that is what I've gone and done is I've gone out and I'm still doing it now. Is I'm just going out and researching and doing it in my own time, even is watching videos and watching people who are researching this kind of thing and coming back and trying to implement it and implementing it into live sparring. There's tons. It's really refreshing as well for me. Doing some like back control stuff as well, which is new to me, and I'm sucking at it. I'm not getting it.
Yeah.
I'm not getting some of the nuances, and it's just not in there yet.
Yeah.
And that's actually I actually enjoy that process of getting back to
Yeah, because you're running, you're going towards something you're not comfortable with, and you actually don't like or enjoy.
Yeah.
And those are the things. If you don't like it or enjoy it, that's what you need to be doing. Probably. Not every time. I mean, there are certain situations if you don't like and enjoy
I
it,
would
then
say
you should
I'd say
no.
do it to like a 2-to-1 ratio to keep you motivated.
Yeah. Yeah, you still need to do
two
some
things
stuff
you like, and then one thing you're like, oh, I'm shit at this.
But it's like when you try. It's like when you're playing top game and you're passing guard, you're really fluid and you pass guard really well.
Yeah.
But then when you try and guillotine me, you have it's a tricky situation for you.
Yeah.
But if you can then get tangled up in the legs with me, it's a lot more of a funner situation.
Yeah.
You prevail more often in that scenario.
Sure.
And for me, it's like if I can get you tired, get you broken down a bit, then I can start to have some success.
Yes.
So I now, for me, if I'm rolling with Pete and let's say he's that uncomfortable person I roll with, I don't want to roll with, let's say, I know really I need to be concentrating on how can I perform better against Pete in that first opening 3 or 4 rounds of rolling.
Sure. So that
needs to be.
Yeah,
so that needs
makes
to be
sense.
my. So I need to frame what the problem is. How am I going to go after it? Beat Pete up with a bat.
Yeah. Take my legs out.
Yeah.
Any other little bits?
No, I think that's fine. You have anything?
No. Yeah, I some of the things which sort of influence that is Faraz Sahabi did say a thing about volume. Like volume is kind of really king.
Yeah.
If you want to get good, if you want to improve stuff.
Yeah, you're better off doing 8-9 sessions a week at say 70%, 80%, rather than doing 3 sessions at 100%.
Yeah, they do studies on this as well. It's about checking in mentally as well.
Yeah.
Like if you come in and you like I see people we've had quite a few injuries at the club at the moment. But what happens is people get injuries and they just go off, and you don't see them for like months, and they come back and go, oh yeah, I've been injured. Oh, I can't go. Unless you have a broken femur or a big ACL injury or something, come in.
Well,
and
look,
there's literally no shame in coming in and watching and absorbing information.
Yeah.
And if you still check in, you go away with an investment.
Well, if you look, do you remember when I injured my MCL?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So
Yeah,
I
when
did
you were
2
wrestling, yeah.
I did 2 fight camps with a partially torn MCL. I just strapped it up. I got the best knee wrap I could, and worked around it, and just made sure I didn't injure it any more than I possibly could have. And that took 8 months to rehab and heal. Thankfully, it wasn't a bad tear, but it is doable even with quite serious injuries, other than broken bones.
Yeah. I'm not saying just tough it. I'm saying
Funnily enough,
get in and get your investment back.
one of the older MMA guys came back to the MMA class.
Broke his finger.
Yeah, first session back in 2 years. Broke his finger.
Yeah.
Got it caught in a glove. It's a weird thing. That's the kind of injury that just happens. You can't help that.
Yeah.
Broken fingers, broken toes. Usually how it is.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, well, don't forget to like and subscribe, and please share, follow, comment, all that good stuff. And thank you very much.
Bye.